Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello?
Welcome back
Hi.
to another. Which one is this one? Or what? How the
This
West
is
was weird. I always get them mixed up.
this is the third session, but session number two, as our first session was session zero, where we discussed theme and premise and safety tools. Um, Session one happened last week, last Sunday.
hmm
We are going with a Weird West theme. We are in a outside of a small logging town somewhere in a a mountain valley where it's on the edge of a desert, but it's not your typical Southwest Death Valley type setting. It's more like uh, it's scrubland and it's colder than one might expect. Um, but we started last session a what was supposed to have been a lazy, cozy Sunday morning breakfast was interrupted by a bunch of ruffians. Thankfully, those interlopers passed without incident, all due to the quick efforts of a yoinked cup of coffee to de-escalate to de-escalate what could have been something much messier. Um, Once that was sorted, then our friends decided they were going to go investigate a strange object in the wilderness north of our town of Eatswood. Um, there have been stories about this object. It's as big as a butte, an outcropping of rock. Like an ironclad drops out of the sky. It creaks. There's ghosts. It's so many conflicting, strange stories about this thing, and you all decide you're going to go check it out. So when you went to go check it out, you were followed and you were shot at by a couple of um, shootists, mercenary type, uh, professional gunfighters who said that they were in the employ of a Mr. Slade, Mr. Drenth Slade, who is the Baron's man at arms. The Baron is in charge of a much larger city to the south of Eatswood known as Greymar. Um, it is also has quite a few mysteries of its own. Nobody knows how it grew quite so big and quite so prosperous in a very short period of time. But the Baron seems to be looking, mining, stripping the ground for some sort of a substance known only as Blackstone. And it may or may not factor into the larger this larger mystery. So when we left, you had turned what could have been a much bloodier scenario into something not quite so terrible. One of these two gunfighters ran off. These hired guns ran off into the woods. The other one you managed to subdue with some clever arcana due to Ahab convincing the gentleman that he was about to be struck by lightning or that he had a black cloud over his head. Um, and he's the one that told you that he was working for Mr. Slade, and that he didn't. All he was told was that anybody that went north looking for the object, that they were to be stopped. Um, so the first question that I have is, what did you plan on doing with him? My second question is, it is starting to get dark, and you may decide that you do not want to travel at night, but that's entirely up to you. You guys have to decide whether or not you want to make camp and go in the morning, or if you want to press on. So we need to address those two things.
So I think we let him go.
Did you?
Did we?
Yeah,
I
we
think
we
so.
talked about letting him go.
Oh, that's right, because I untied him and went, go on, go on, go on.
Okay, fair enough. So
That's right.
so both of them have gone. and that's pretty easy. And like I said, now it is starting to get dark, and now you guys have to decide whether or not you're going to push on through the night, or if you're going to make camp and go in the morning.
For me, I suggest we make camp. Really, I'd like to stake out the place before diving in.
So Cass is suggesting that you make camp and stake out the area before you press on.
Absolutely.
Worst case scenario, they send another 2 gunners.
I mean, that is a one possibility.
And we'll zap them again.
It could happen again, but we are lacking the horsepower to face another ambush. So I'd take it quite cautiously and scout the area and make our campfire, and then we can proceed.
Well, I trust your perception, friend. So, camp it is. I'll set out the sausages for a fire.
Maybe first fire, then sausages?
Oh, bollocks, I always forget that. What's the kindling?
Cedar, we're in a wooded area, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's starting to thin out as you get further north.
Okay. So Cedar's gonna go up to one of the trees and go, I mean, to be on the safe side, why don't we sleep in the trees?
Are you partial to tree sleeping? I know Cass is.
Well, for me, sleeping on a tree wouldn't be a problem, but I mean, whatever.
Just don't fall out of it again.
It's
That was
real.
quite terrifying last time.
It was meant to be, yeah, terrifying. Not for me, yeah. First impression matters.
I see. Well, you two get in your nest.
We just have to figure out how to get Ahab up in the tree.
I'm an expert climber.
And
Was
what
that? I didn't
about
know
the
any fish that could climb.
Do you have a ladder?
I check my bag. I reach for my bag, and I do have a lighter. So.
Pulls out the bag.
Or you have a rope ladder. That would be the easiest thing to carry around in your bag.
Excellent.
I have the magnesium and the iron bar to actually make fire, not an actual modern lighter.
That almost took a turn. I wasn't sure where that was headed. I have magnesium. What?
I'll get you up there with magnesium. Somehow. Excellent. Well, I'm going to get started on the climbing. And I'm just going to, go up the tree. And have you pulled out a ladder? Is that actually a thing that you have?
It makes total sense that he'd have a rope ladder.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, I will stand at the foot of it.
It's not a bag of holding. It's a big satchel full of all kind of random stuff, but it's not a bag of holding. It doesn't have a literal straight ladder in there.
No.
A massive one. How did we see that before? Oh well, if you wouldn't mind, because I'm less dexterity based, and I'm more brain power, and I can't quite brain power myself up into that tree.
That's why I said we
But I'll
figure
give
it
it a very good
out.
shot. What?
We'll just tie a rope to you and haul you up there.
Oh, hoist me!
Why don't we
That
get
would
dinner
work, I
cooked
guess.
first, and then we'll
Oh,
haul you
good.
up
I
in the
have to cook up
tree.
there. I'll work on the. Yes, I'll work on that because I'm an expert cook, as you know. I'm good enough, and you can do the whole climbing a tree thing.
All right, so campfire, sausages, dinner.
Get some pork and beans.
I mean that is the most easily traveled dried smoked meat and canned beans, and yeah, I mean that's trail food.
It's part of the 4 basic food
lovely.
groups: beans, beer, bacon, and lard.
We do lack the lard, so
There we go. What would you do without my gourmet cooking from a can?
We would starve to death, honey.
Yes. My IV is off to one side.
Um,
I picture Ahab as having a bowler hat and a monocle and a very well tailored suit and um and just sort of not being too at home in the brush. But
No, I tend to have a chair nearby. But this will do. I'm going to make some pork and beans, and feel free to take the rest of this.
all right, so y'all are eating pork and beans around the campfire. Jess, did I think you told me you wanted to do something?
yeah, I uh, pull out my gun, disassemble it, and begin to clean everything up, make sure everything is in order. But it's quite obvious that I am having some trouble moving my left arm slash wing, and it's some bandages are tightly tied on it, and I begin to change my bandages and asking Ahab if we do have some pot to boil some water since I need to do some cleanups.
Of course, I tend to. I created the fire, and of course, I need to have some sort of pot to boil some tea. So I do have something of the sort. And I'm going to open my pack. I have like a quill,
It would
paper,
not
like
be.
stupid shit, and then a pot.
You have the fanciest set of writing implements.
Oh,
You have the like polished wood, uh, you know, pen and ink pot and everything. Yeah, like completely unnecessary at this point.
absolutely lovely. If we run out of kindling, I've got a pencil.
Cedar's gonna go over to Cass and be like, "Did falling out of the tree hurt you? Do you need some help?"
Uh, I massage my shoulder and looking at Cedar, I say no. This is a long time wound, not quite fully recovered, and I think it never will. You know the man at arms that sent those two ruffians after us.
Sure.
It's not the first time for me. Uh, I have not met him directly, uh, but he was around my hometown, you see. And me and my clan, my family, was were made an example for the others. So we we were made sure. Uh, sorry, he made sure we cannot escape. So most of us got our wings clipped and broken in a irrecoverable way. I was a lucky one, but I do have a grudge against him.
Well, of course. Thank you for sharing that. And she's gonna offer whatever help she can when it comes to unwrapping it and things like that.
I'm so very grateful for your help. You see, having talons and wings and feathers, it's not easy to take care of this, this wound.
Of course, that's why we're here.
I'm very sorry, Cedar. I would very much help. I can help patch wounds and deal with snake bites, but I don't have anything for the sort of what you are wanting to help with. But I'm sure your homely and loving, caring personality will be enough bandage for him for now.
My sticky paws.
Yes.
All right. As we are sharing this bonding and character building moment, I need everybody to roll a relevant notice things that might be hiding in the uh, in in your surroundings skill.
What would this be if we don't have any sort of perception esque
And it's just one die and add your cunning.
cunning? Cool. In that case, 5.
Okay.
I've
Yeah,
got a
you're making
14.
tea. You are completely oblivious. You are so focused on making tea and boiling the water to help Kess redress his wounds.
Eating those beans.
Yes. You are the hobbitiest of fish people. You are concerned with comfort and especially in these hostile environments.
Oh yes.
I have to remember the commands to roll the dice, so. But I've got it.
Bloody hell! They broke my pencil.
I rolled a 14 as the highest number.
Okay.
I rolled. Oh, oops, I did that backwards. I rolled a 13 as the highest.
Yes. You realize as Cedar is helping you redress your injury that you are not alone. That there is somebody in the something that is watching you from the trees around your where you have made camp.
Okay. I warn my friends, obviously, so they know I saw this possible threat.
They probably saw the
And
fire.
they probably have
Right,
saw
right.
our fire, but
Probably
it's not a,
realise that now.
we hadn't really a choice. Either we lit up a fire or face the cold of the desert.
If the choice was stealth or
So
beans, I'll take the
not our fault.
beans.
Well, they will let me finish bandaging you up before they even start coming at us. She's wrapping it.
Shall we go with diplomacy and talk to these, or investigate further, or should we wait until we hear the cough of cordite?
Unluckily for us, my revolver is still in pieces, so I have to resort to the long gun. Cedar so kindly let
Like
me.
it's grabbed from the hard gun. Yes.
I'm not as good with the long one as I would be with my revolver, but I keep it at hand, loaded, obviously.
At the moment,
And I
uh, sorry.
no, I just wanted to say that I turn to Ahab and tell him, well, if you do want to try diplomacy, the floor is yours.
Looking at Cedar, who I know is the most like warming presence in a room, and we're like, well,
After I finish this is the most important thing, and she's gonna finish up.
no, it's fine. You deal with that. I'll be your second, and I'm gonna stand up. Hello. Sorry. Just what? I need to speak to them. Hello there. So, we are but weary travellers on the road. We're heading towards Eatswood, and we were needing just to sit down and have some beans. Now, yourselves, us watching from the shadows there, if you'd like to come forward so we can speak about things a bit further, I think my friend has noticed you there. We mean no harm, and I assume you don't either, otherwise you would have shot us already.
There's a pause. I think there is a very like noticeable like pregnant pause hanging in the air as soon as Ahab finishes his statement, and with that, a figure steps closer to your camp. Uh, they appear to be mm, maybe maybe a few inches over 5 feet tall. Um, they are bundled up. They are wrapped up in a very might even be considered oversized wool cloak, hood over their head.
Okay.
The they start to speak. Their voice is low and in a whisper, and there's a noticeable either a lisp or a speech impediment, or it's figured out from the general direction that you were headed. You are going to set your eyes upon the jet.
In passing, yes.
The
Sorry, is it off limits? Are you a protector of sorts? Are you a watcher?
Not exactly. Uh, the figure takes their cloak and pulls their cloak back, and what you see is a definitely humanoid, and definitely reptilian, or yeah, reptilian. Uh, green, green and gold scales, um, kind of a crest, uh, a ridge of kind of like cartilage running along the middle center of their head. Um, we are going to look at. We were going to set our eyes upon the craft, the Hulk as well. Uh, we we have cousins in the area who were, we think, we're not entirely sure or certain, but we think their fate and this object are somehow connected.
Oh. Their fate being, you
They
believe,
were
ill?
they were wiped out.
Oh.
They were massacred. They were slaughtered.
Well, I'm dreadfully sorry.
Is Cedar still close to me, or are you done changing my bandages?
I'm done. I haven't walked away from you yet. I'm
Okay.
just kind of there, and I'm looking at who Ahab's talking to.
Okay. So can I use my deduce ability to see if I remember or I know uh, who this uh, fellow might be, or more specifically, um,
The appearance lines up with the stories that you heard of the Enwol, the one in the Sunfall Valley, which was where a reptilian humanoid uh, culture lived, occupied. You heard that they had been about 10 years ago, that they were originally surviving and flourishing and had been wiped out. Some sort of event took place, and they were there, and then all of a sudden they were not.
do I know about their connection with nature and such stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Basically, that maybe they might be semi-nomadic. Maybe they lived here. Maybe maybe they settle in an area for a certain period of time and then move on. Um, the stories are kind of conflicting. The people in Eatswood generally did not conduct business with them or interact with them to any significant degree.
perfect. So I lean a little closer to Cedar and I whisper very quietly, "That's a nature speaker. Maybe we should offer some food and figure it out why he's some sort of warning us."
And she listens and immediately acts. She, gets some rations and goes up and stands next to Ahab. Well, if you'd like, we got a fire and you're welcome to come join us for food. And she hands out, she offers the bowl of rations.
Um, the figure gestures, and two other similar figures step out of the trees as well. Thank you for sharing your camp and your food with us. They will they will oblige, and they will settle in, and they will eat the beans but not the pork. Uh, we are from further east of here. We have come to try and figure out what happened to our cousins. Uh, we all of our families that travel these lands, we let each other travel and roam and range wherever they feel without much in the way of intervention, but we do keep in touch, and we had not heard from them in quite some time. As we started to ask questions and to go to your town, your of Eatswood, uh, and ask questions there, things, circumstances started to line up, and we think that this object, this craft, is in some way connected to their disappearance.
My guess is that it is connected to the fate of your cousins. And speaking personally, I'll gladly help you figure that out, since I too have personal grudges against some people about what was done to my family.
I'm very sorry to hear that. I can't speak to that specifically. I certainly hope that this was not at the hands of some bad actor, as you might call it, but that remains to be seen. Uh, so, what is your plan?
We haven't told them that we're
Eileen,
headed to the boat, have we?
not yet.
Haven't confirmed that. They thought that you were. They sort of they that's their working hypothesis.
Got it.
Do you want to accompany us if we were to have a look, and then you could go the rest of the way? Or I've heard there's ghosts there.
Those are old children's stories, I'm telling you.
Ghosts?
Yes.
Do not scare our new friends with childlike stories.
You aren't children, are you?
This is not a look. The look on this individual's face is not one of fright, more of confusion.
Yeah.
What is it? What is this ghost that you speak of?
I don't know.
Don't listen to him. He's full of tall tales and is just hoping he sees a ghost.
Okay.
It'll
I
be
mean,
really cool.
there's still definitely a look of confusion, but what the heck is a ghost? But
Oh, ghosts. I can explain them in great detail if you'd like.
yeah, I mean they don't they're not particularly interested if you don't choose to explain, but if you do, they're like, oh, these other people and their funny words.
Now you see a ghost. And I will explain until Zena's like, stop. Like in my ear.
So you think that when one of your people dies, that they this is very confusing. I mean, if that I don't begrudge you what you believe, but it doesn't make that much sense.
Do
Well,
both
that's
you and your cousins believe in a solar deity?
Yes,
Oh,
uh,
both of you.
as our creator and the creator of the world, um, but uh, when we die, we return to the earth, and our living force returns to the living earth. There one and the same. I don't know why you think that they're separate, but again, I don't begrudge you. You're you are you believe what what you wish to believe. I'm not going to judge you for that, but it just doesn't make any sense.
Now that I appreciate. A healthy debate on thoughts of polytheistic religion and the existence of life itself. Light and dark. Those are things in our world's history that I do believe are great forces to consider. So, your belief in such a solar deity, I think, holds lots of ground. Or sky. But that's up to you as well. Do you not want your pork, by the way? really reach over the
With
fire.
your fin.
Yes.
No, thank you. We will
Excellent.
be glad to leave it for you. The beans will sustain us.
I'm just saying, we passed by a porcine fellow, and by that I don't mean returned. I mean, he was literally part pig as I am, fish and you are gecko, that sort of thing. We could not have him in this group because my tongue needs bacon. And I couldn't have another issue with not allowing us to ride horse because of our equine friend. This man needs bacon. That's something I couldn't live without.
I have to admit, it is very curious to my companions and I, and to my cousins in general. You are not like the humans.
No,
Oh,
humans don't have scales
No,
or
they
feather.
or
Or-
feathers.
or sticky fingers.
Or sticky fingers.
And the average length of a human tongue is normally only enough to pass by the breadth of the nose. But I've seen some things today with a gun. That's all I'm saying.
So that might be a story for another time.
Potentially. I
Cedar's
do
just gonna
literally
look
have.
at
I put.
Ahab and like tongue to eyeball to clean it. To her own, not to Ahab's, to her own.
Oh, I didn't need that clarified. I was like, oh,
No, to her own.
I'm getting pampered.
So it's getting late, and the yawning is starting to set in, and everybody's bellies are full enough as it is for the road, for the trail. Cedar, give me something in the neighborhood of perception or a notice or something along those lines.
Pull everything back up. Will a deduce work?
Yeah, sure.
14.
What do you have as far as the night sky and the stars are concerned? I know that you had something along those special ability.
I can. I have a talent. Knowledge of the stars makes it easier to travel at night.
All right, roll an extra die, and you can ping that. You can ping that talent.
Roll an extra die and add anything.
Whatever. Yeah, just if it winds up being the highest, just treat it as the highest.
No, it is not the highest.
Okay, so it's still a 14.
Mhm.
Okay. As you are getting tucked into your bedrolls and sleep is starting to overtake you, you notice in the night sky, you notice the constellation of Agrawa, who is known as the guide. And it's like, oh. And it just occurs to you as you're drifting off. And so night falls, sleep takes you, And then dawn breaks, and it is the following day.
Well, how's everyone's sleep? Because I know I have one thing. It's very early in the morning to be climbing down a tree. How painful do you think falling would be?
So I assume the rope would still be tied to you. We'll just lower you slowly.
Thank you. By the way, I'm glad you found the distinction between my torso and neck. Very important.
The little difficult boy got it.
Mm. So breakfast, pork and beans. I'll pass breakfast. I'm quite full after eating 3 other people's meals.
I'm assuming that you would have like tea or coffee on you, right?
Always in a flask. No. Always, yes.
Honestly, some coffee would be real nice.
I have some tobacco and some tea. I have to label the bags. Because that ends up being awkward sometimes.
You don't brew the tobacco? Ooh.
Smoking the tea. I'm seeing colors and sounds.
I didn't know it was that kind of tea. Did you blend some dried psilocybin into that tea?
I don't know what's in this tea. I don't know if it's tea. No.
I don't know if it's tea. Oh my gosh.
Right. Um, so it is morning, and you are drinking tea and coffee to gather your wits about you, and your new friends uh, are they are rousing from their sleep as well. They don't seem to be traveling. They seem to be traveling light. They don't have a whole lot of possessions about them, but they definitely seem to be trundled up. The being reptilian, it seems as though they are trying to ward off the cold. Um, so they are definitely in cold weather gear. And they just sort of they start they just they kind of like give you a polite nod, and then they continue on closer. They kind of take the initiative. They proceed, um, almost as if they're taking Ahab up on his word that they should go first.
I like them. No messing around. Well, shall we follow?
So the guide and the stars, would that signify anything?
Um, it might.
Okay.
Uh, that depends on. I mean, I mean, Cedar recognizes the constellation.
Okay. So
Uh,
probably being a school teacher, she would know the story behind it, kind of the mythos behind the
yeah.
constellation.
So the constellation is one of the 16. There is a collection of 16 constellations, and they all figure into a not so much a creation myth, but a flight myth, of how speaking of light and dark, two mythic god figures, Aerith Lumine and Shadentha,
Mm-hmm.
had an epic battle, and Shadentha defeated Aerith Lumine, and when Aerith Lumine was defeated, Aerith Lumine spread himself across the stars, and the stories are unclear whether Aerith Lumine split into 16 or 16 went along with Aerith Lumine, and then Aerith Lumine was defeated. Nevertheless, there are just very quickly. I will run through what they're known as: the Crusader, the Vanguard, the Courier, the Jester, the Seer, the Marshal, the Emissary, the Advocate, the Bulwark, the Architect, the Provider, the Skirmisher, the Squire, the Laborer, the Guide, and the Spy. So they all make themselves visible in the night sky depending on the time of year.
Okay.
And it just so happens that right now you looked up and you saw the guide, and it may be relevant, uh, but it definitely figures into um, this sort of tragedy story of the defeat of Arithlimene.
Okay.
Um, so take from that what you will. And Cedar is definitely, knows the stories and knows the significance, um, but uh, whether or not that has any direct bearing, maybe. Maybe it's a boon. Maybe it's maybe the fact that the guide is present is a good omen.
Okay. She's gonna not like mention it like, oh my god, this is an omen, and I need to tell you guys. More of just a casual conversation as they walk, kind of more of a. It's to her. It's not to anybody. It's more to herself. And if anybody happens to overhear, that's fine. About the guide, and she's gonna start kind of going, okay, the story, okay, and he was defeated. I mean, there's a bunch of there's some that believe this, and I mean, I don't know. It could just be a constellation. Kind of muttering to herself about it.
Sorry, I don't want to be ignorant. Were you talking to us? Was it more of an internal conversation?
I'm sorry. I saw a constellation in the sky last night, and I was just recalling the
Really?
stories. And yeah, a lot of cultures believe it might be a bad thing. Some cultures believe it's a blessing, and so it was kind of just a.
So we good or bad? We're gonna like.
I mean, it depends on what you believe. Sometimes, you know, seeing the guide is a bad thing, and it's because of the story of how he was defeated.
Oh no.
And sometimes, depending on who you, where you come from, it's a good thing, especially for people who are travelers. So,
So here's the thing. As Cedar elaborates, this for Ahab and for Kess, this makes sense. Something about the story of Arithlimene, the battle between Arithlimene and Shadentha, and the tragedy, the defeat of Arithlimene, sort of is all like, yeah, like it just sort of like rings familiar, it rings true, and it's not a memory, it's not something that you heard or saw, it's something more subconscious than that.
I like that. So I'm going to choose to believe. That's a good thing. Because where would we be without a good outlook?
that's why we keep you around,
Well,
Ahab.
about these reptilian friends, are we going to let them walk in first? I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to barge them or try to wrestle them. But do we have any problem with them entering, messing around? We are on a general investigation, not looking for anything in particular. But is there anything, any bounds you don't want crossing?
Well,
Let's talk about these.
I mean, if
I turn to Ahab and say, when I was just a fledgling, uh, a mentor told me it's easier to shoot someone in the back right, than in the front. So yeah, I let them go, do their things, and if they are useful and good um, and good allies, that's fine by me. But the very instant they try to turn the tables, I'll be ready.
All right. So general allowing them to go first, but from the slight issue of danger, I see. I'll bear that in mind with the weapon I don't have. But I'll keep both my big eyes on them regardless.
you sharpen your fins.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna hurt really bad when I do so. That's a good point. You make a good point, Case. Right. In that case, shall we proceed? We'll walk with these fellows to see what they do. I I'm going to put out there, I think they're going to be top lads. I think. I think they're going to be real swell. That's my belief. Because where would we be without the guide and the positive outlook? We don't have any blood on our hands. We almost died yesterday. There's now more deaths again.
Just that unfailing positivity.
Yes.
So you set out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I imagine you're keeping your reptilian friends in sight, so they aren't too far ahead of you. But the the forest makes way to scrubland, makes way to just arid, dry, rocky terrain, and it's desert in the sense that it is dry and it is arid, but it is not hot. Um, I would liken it to like the Pacific Northwest, and kind of rocky, arid terrain, dry, cold terrain. And you're following this gouge that this object made because it was very clearly not just dropped out of the sky. It crashed. It skidded to a stop in and into an outcropping of rock where it doesn't seem to have smashed into. More so there was some sort of cave mouth or or crevice in the earth that it kind of nestled into. uh, when you get in sight of this thing, it is most definitely not an ironclad the way that some people have described it. To if this were in fact an ironclad, as you have or you are familiar with, that would be much smaller than this thing. This is likely, very likely, the largest artificial object that any of you have seen in your lives. Uh, there is only a fraction of it, of its rear section, that is sticking out of the ground. It appears to be a cluster of 3 cylinders that look to be the rear end of whatever this thing is, and it is visible from the trail and from where the trail ends, and now you're pretty much out in wide open spaces. But it definitely is only just some fraction of this full length of this object.
What a marvel to behold. To think something like us can create something so beautiful amidst all this desert. But how it got here, that mystery. I'm dying to find it.
Thought you said it was a trebuchet.
I'm still looking out for the trebuchet. It's not off the table. But also, just putting it out there, this theorem we have regarding, this thing stopping at the mouth of some cave or outcropping, some sort of geographical hole in the ground. Burial site?
Are you trying to come back around to ghosts? Oh, Ahab.
Oh.
So this is what you see, and your 3 new friends are undeterred. They are progressing in further. They are navigating the space, the very narrow space between the natural rock and where this thing kind of skidded to a stop, in order to try and make their way deeper in. So what do you do?
Right. And what are they doing?
They're just navigating. They're kind of negotiating their way. The space between whatever this object is and the cave opening, the cave mouth, is pretty narrow. So they are kind of shimmying.
It's a gulch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a gulch, but it winds up leading into like
Yeah.
it very coincidental that it just happened to find an opening in the earth where it did not. So it seems to be mostly intact. It did not break apart, um, but it's definitely a gulch. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely fascinating.
Is any of them still on our level, or are they delving deeper already?
Still, you can still see them. I mean, they're moving. They're not leaving. You know, they are undeterred. They so you can, but they're still within sight of
Okay.
you.
Because I want to ask them if this thing gives them some kind of vibe against the nature, or if something that
Oh,
is unseen dwells in here.
oh, this is definitely has this. This is wholly and utterly separate from the nature of this world. Uh, this is definitely has come from somewhere else.
Look at that. Maybe it was another planet.
I turn to Cedar. I say, like the stars. That's what you're saying. It crashed from the stars.
That is our working assumption at this point. That being said, we don't entirely know how that would be possible.
Yet.
Correct.
Yet.
And the answers lie within. So I'm going to just step back. Not because I don't want to be involved, but I think that in regards to these sort of matters, Kess and yourself are far more proficient, knowledgeable, and skillful in these sort of areas. So I will humbly accept that I am out of my depth in this moment, but if you would like to give me some pointers, I will accept. How
Pointers.
to traverse easier.
Okay.
I don't want to fall and trip and hurt myself. If I can help it, but if needs must, I will take it right on the face. That being a rock.
All right. So you stand there looking at this thing. So, Kess, what do you do?
I'm I'm torn between wanting to follow the lizard folks, or go and check the outer part, the rear of this thing that's
I mean,
pointing out at the stars.
this is definitely big enough that they could go one way and you could go another. So you don't necessarily have to follow them. Uh, and it is, like I said, it is big enough. Like you've heard stories back back east of buildings that scrape the sky. Um,
Mhm.
that would be about as tall as what this is, and longer than. I mean, it's just hard for you to fathom. But yeah,
Right.
so you could go your own way. You don't necessarily have to follow immediately behind them.
So what do we think? You mentioned about them keeping them close as allies for now. Do you think that we should allow them on their own path and we go our own? Or I, in my opinion, think that sticking together with our new found, well, similar interested peoples, I wish I'd call them friends yet, but keeping them close by wouldn't be an issue, unless you want to scout it out yourself, Cass.
Uh, can I deduce if the ground down there is rocky, or would be wet enough for me to see the footprints or some traces of them going down? Because if that's the
It's
case, I
too dry. It's too dry. You
too
might see
dry.
footprints in you might see footprints left behind in the in in the dust, but there's definitely yeah.
Okay.
They seem acclimated to to the humidity. The lack of humidity does not seem to bother them. It's definitely they are trying to retain their body temperature.
Clearly. Okay. So I think we should stick together, as Ahab said earlier, and I totally check the highest point of this thing in the middle of the desert before delving deep.
Right. I'll wait here. And I'll stay down here so if you do fall, I can catch you.
I raise my eyebrow and tell Ahab, "You are concerned about my fall?
You did fall out of a
That's so
tree
sweet
yesterday.
of you."
Betrayed because he was shot at.
You might get shot again.
I might get shot again. That's true.
But I
So,
won't have anything to do with that.
so Cass, you have heard stories of old growth forests where the trees are as tall as 10 men standing on shoulder to shoulder if they were to try. And this thing out heights even that.
Whoa.
So for you to fly all the way to the top fills you with a not insignificant amount of trepidation.
Okay. Do I see openings or?
In the craft.
Mhm.
Okay, sure. Give me whatever. Deduce, perception, investigate, whatever you think is relevant.
Okay, I have deduced, so I'm going with that. And I got uh, 13.
Yes, there definitely are. There's definitely you can see at least one what would look like a hatch or a door uh, set into the surface of this object. It appears to be the material that it is made out of appears to be smooth and gray and definitely metallic,
Mhm.
but light and uh, has a great deal of tensile strength, can take a great deal of punishment. Uh, it is unlike any alloy. It's like the stories of the most masterfully crafted steel weapons of the old days. Um, what we out of character, what we might refer to in the real world as Damascus steel, like like real high end, some sort of alloy of iron and some other material that would make this metal incredibly strong and and able to be pounded out into very thin sheets as well. So it is utterly foreign to you.
Okay.
And
I
there's
have
definitely
never
a door.
seen. I have never seen anything like that, right? In my life. It's the first time for me.
Yes.
Okay.
First time
So I.
first times for Cass. Cass is well traveled enough that first times for Cass are like are
Mhm.
uh, striking.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I hoped for. Uh, do I have enough space to land near the quote-unquote door?
Yes, you will have to go up a little bit. You can kind of do a combination of flapping your wings and climbing, but
Okay.
the door is within sight, and you feel confident enough that you could reach it without having to go too high.
So I want to try an old trick, but, having never seen something like this, I go up there, balance myself, and try to shoot where I think the lock would be. I have no idea, obviously, but I
So
figure it out.
does this combination of climbing and flapping his wings that is uh, just old hat to him, and the second nature, the two Ahab and Cedar, you're just watching and you're just like, okay. So Cass, you get up to a position. You're holding on to the rock face, and you. So go ahead and roll your pistol or your whatever you're using to shoot.
The pistol, yes.
Yes.
So I go with a 12.
All right. Your projectile, your bullet, definitely makes contact, but it bounces off. Does not seem to have any impact on a locking mechanism. There is no obvious exterior locking mechanism. Um, there's no handle. The only thing that looks obvious is a black square about the size of a human hand on the surface of the door.
Okay, so I want to inspect the door by hand, quote unquote, and see if I can make it open somehow. If I see some hinges or anything that can help me figure out how this works.
Are you going to touch the black panel?
Not quite yet. I want to, but I want to be sure that this thing doesn't open on my side and make Ahab fears come true about my fall.
So inspecting the door. So again, no obvious external locking mechanism. No,
Okay.
no handle, no crank, no handle, like what you might expect on an Ironside ship. The seam of the door is very, very tight.
Okay. I let a sigh out. I look down and yell, "Ahab, get ready!" And I touch the black.
You put your taloned hand to the black panel. It flashes. Some sort of internal light from behind the panel flashes and flickers. There is a brief outline of a human hand, a 5-digit appendage. And the door pops and hisses and raises up, slides a couple of inches to your left, and then the light from the panel fizzles and the door stops. So you've got about 2 or 3 inches of a gap. But it did this all without any obvious mechanical mechanism, with any mechanical means.
Okay. I really carefully take a peek inside with one eye.
There is some light from the outside, and what you see is a very narrow, very cramped corridor. It seems like it could only fit one person at a time, and you'd have to go single file, and you'd have to crawl.
Okay. Once again, I look down and via shouting, I give this information to my friends, Cedar and Ahab. What do you guys think? Should I go in or do you want me to come down?
What do you think, Cedar?
I mean, I could make it
Single
up there,
file
maybe.
corridor. That's a good point. Can you carry me? I've been doing my cardio.
I'm gonna go judging by the GM's face. No.
Oh well.
I mean,
That's
but
fine.
could I travel a rope up there and then Kess and I both kind of.
You could do that, sure.
Oh, bloody brilliant! There we are.
Or Cass can drop the rope, and y'all could.
Oh, because I should be able to climb up the side of the ship.
You could do. Oh yes, yeah. Sticky fingers. Yep, you totally could do that. Yes.
So let's do that. Because the idea of hoisting a catfish up a ship like a fishing line is just the best.
All right. So Cedar, I need you to roll, and I don't know what kind of physical skills you have, but you always default to 1 die plus stature.
Okay, so physical skills, as in for what?
Athletics, acrobatics, climbing,
I have a special ability.
which is
Can stick to walls and walk along them.
all right. That's cool. I still need you to roll a
Yes.
skill to avoid falling.
Ah.
So it's going to be 1 die. We'll call that sticky fingers. So roll 2 dice and add your stature to the top die.
I believe in you, Cedar.
Roll 2 die and what? I'm sorry.
Add your stature to the highest results, just like any other challenge.
Stature. I'm sorry. I had to remember which one stature was. 8.
Okay. It is more challenging than you would expect. Whatever substance the skin of this craft or this object is made of is is resisting your sticky fingers.
Great.
But nevertheless, you are able to do it. It's challenging. It's difficult. But you're able to get up to where Kess is and to where this door is.
Okay.
So you can drop the rope, and Ahab can climb up.
Brilliant work. Gimme. All right. I need a rope climbing check. Oh shit.
Well, the rope can give you an extra die, and you can get an extra die between Cedar and Kess helping you holding the rope steady. So roll 3 dice and add your stature.
Oh, bloody brilliant! Right,
Or
+1.
actually, which is higher for you, your stature or your cunning?
Definitely my cunning.
Okay, so if you're more nimble than you are strong. So you can kind of like you could use the rock face, you could use the surface. You're kind of like doing your own very clumsy form of acrobatics in climbing with the rope. So go ahead and roll 3 dice and add your cunning.
I'm quite the dancer. So that is 9. Oh no, adding my cunning. I apologize. That's actually 11.
Okay, that'll be good enough. This is you have taken dancing lessons. You are quite the gentleman in the more civilized social circles.
Oh,
You
yes.
you have waltzed. You have you. That's about all the only dances I know of Victorian era. So anyway, you manage. It's not pretty and it's not comfortable, but you manage.
Bloody hell! You did it! Ugh. Right. Really
Now,
regretting
the next
having
issue is that you've only gotten this door open a couple of inches. So, Kess, would you like to try and force it open any farther than that so you can get inside?
Out of character, I have a question.
Sure.
Did our critical pool empty from last session, or?
No, if you still have a critical, you can use it.
I do have a critical, and I want to use it to force the door open.
Sounds good to me. So, you plant yourself between the rock wall and between the wall of the skin of the object, and use a foot, and you use your interesting appendage layout, and you gain enough leverage to shimmy the door open just far enough for one of you, or to go single file, basically.
Oh, bravo, son!
Single file, hands and knees, very cramped quarters, but you can get in.
Perfect.
What would we do without you, Kess? You're an absolute gem in this team. Look what you've done. Right. We're one step closer to victory.
While still holding on the rope.
You're braver than I thought you'd be, Ahab. So, you wanna go in first? I'll hold the door.
That's a good point. Yes.
All right.
As my grandfather once said, oh fuck, I'm gonna get in there.
Wait, was that Phineas?
What?
Was that Phineas, your grandfather?
Oh yes, of course, Phineas. Yes.
Forgot the name of his own grandfather.
Phineas Ahab. The one that died. Yes.
My grandfather, Phineas Sandbar. Oh fuck.
Famous for dying. Right.
Famous for dying.
He confused the coffee for my whiskey again.
It happened.
They're both brown.
They're both brown.
That's all I need. That's all the evidence I need.
Both amber
That's
liquid.
what it is. Right. Yeah, I'll get in there first.
All right, you're going in first. Who's going in second?
I'll slip in second.
All right, Cedar goes in second. Cass brings up the rear.
Don't look up my skirt. Right. It's a kilt.
So here's the thing. There is natural light coming in from the outside that you can see. So Ahab, you can see down this corridor. It is going to reach a point where it is going to be completely dark.
And I have nothing to amend that.
You do have...
I'm sorry, I was gonna ask, I was like, you don't have any kind of light?
I do. I can create fire, but I'm thinking that might not be an amazing idea right now. Just with the base level of what I have left, fire indoors.
Let us say, for the sake of argument, that you have some minor, whether it be prestidigitation or a cantrip or something that lets you create a mote of light.
I like it. It's like the anglerfish. Woo, light comes out.
A pilot fish? Is that what they are? The ones that have the thing that hangs in front?
Insane. Like, yeah. Go on, I tell you. Yep.
All right. So it's dim, but it gives you enough in order to be able to see. So at the end of this corridor, there is a similar door to the one that you came in. Similar in shape, and another door. So Ahab, since you are in front, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna turn and go, Cass, how difficult was it to open that door?
Look for a little black square to put your damn hand on.
A black square, right? I shall look for that. Right. I'm gonna search around, even if I have to go up.
Okay.
Just slap it. It's just the wet sound of a fin slapping.
Yep.
Through this this mindless, haphazard fish slapping dance that you're doing, you managed to touch the black panel the same way that Cass did, and it traces around it traces around the 5 digits of a human hand in green light. All the while, that tracing is inconsistent, it's intermittent, it's flickering, but it does light up, and the hatch slides open fully, and then the light behind it goes away. And it leads to another corridor, but this corridor is much larger, much wider. It could definitely, you could definitely stand upright. Yeah.
All right. So, doors open.
I'm gonna get out just so everyone else can get through before I start talking to them whilst they're still in an event. So yeah, gonna let everyone out.
All right.
I'm gonna try and do it a bit more gingerly. I don't want to be like moving around in like a wreck in case any creaking starts to happen.
There hasn't been any creaking yet.
Okay. So I'm gonna crawl myself out and let you through.
It is dark. The corridor is dimly lit with a intermittent red light that it's not obvious where it's coming from. Is it electrical? Possibly. It's definitely not firelight. It is from behind some surface. Um, there's the odd spark, but for the most part, it definitely seems to be empty. And there are doors lining the various the left hand and the right hand sides of the corridor.
Right. The source of this light is concerning. But
Concerning, you say? I thought you would take out your damn teapot and make some tea. But yeah, it is concerning.
I love this. I love the fact that Kess is like tweaking right now because he's so out of depth. He's like, I thought you were gonna make some damn tea, and it's damn everything. It's like, Kess, are you okay?
No, I'm not. Cass is not okay since I'm a Hawkman. I do not like closed, cramped spaces, so I'm quite nervous. I'm not liking this in the slightest.
if you do want some tea, I can do that. But right now, I think we have bigger things.
I'll ask you
But
about the
definitely
key
tea will
later
follow.
on. Yeah, once we are there, I will request a cup of tea.
Yes. Now, flashing red light. In
Yep.
close space, you're not a fan. Quiet. We need to see
The
if there
light.
isn't presence of a boatman, considering this is some sort of craft, we're to call it. Let's see if there's any presence of food laying around, plates, inhabitants of any kind. Recently, maybe. If not, absolutely fine. And just say, if you do find a ghost first, tell me. Right.
I think right now we have bigger things to worry about than finding ghosts.
If you think so.
You
You can have a look
all
around.
of the doors seem to have a common theme. They seem to be running on minimal automatic operation. Somehow they are automatically operated, meaning that you touch a panel or you press a button and the doors open of their own accord. There's no gears, there's no levers, there's no obvious mechanism, but somehow they are opening nevertheless. Um, Sometimes they open fully, sometimes they open only partially, sometimes you have to pry them open in order to get inside. You seem to be the running theme of behind all these doors is living spaces. You see beds, you see tables with personal effects, you see I mean, some of the objects just look very foreign to you. They look like um, there's definitely a common theme of clear black plastic, not plastic. I can't even use the word plastic. Um, uh, Shiny black substance, flat gray, um, maybe aluminum, maybe some type of metal, but incredibly light. Um, it all looks like, I mean, it's covered in dust. It looks like it's been here for a long time.
These are some strange effects around, aren't they? This alloy. I'm gonna pick up something of that kind. Look at it. Particularly
Um,
light.
you pick up what looks like a box. Um, I mean, it fits in your hand. It has a hinge on it.
Does it open?
It opens. Yeah, it's not locked.
Maybe there's a ring.
It lights up. There is a light source from behind the surface that lights up, and it starts to make a noise. Beep, 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 beep.
It's a bird call of some kind.
Does the alarm only go off when he opens it?
And only when he opens. Yes,
Okay.
it seems to be driven by its own power, and the surface of it is lit. There are all different colored lights that are blinking, and the sound only happens when he opens it.
What do you make of this? It's emitting some sort of song.
It doesn't sound like a song to me. It sounds like an alarm.
It sounds like a telegraph. It sounds like Morse code almost.
Oh!
Would we know? Would we know?
Do you know Morse code?
It is not Morse code. It sounds like Morse code. It sounds like quick beeps followed by longer beeps, but there is no rhyme or reason to it.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna put this down back on the table.
I mean,
Just in case.
It might be worth putting in a bag and observing later, or finding somebody who can.
Any room in that bag, Cass?
I knew you were about to ask me to put that thing in my bag.
That thing.
I can carry it if you like. I've got a pocket. I could just. If
No,
you
no, no,
don't
no,
want
no,
to,
no, no,
it's
no.
absolutely fine. Oh, you don't want to? No, you can have them.
Yes, it is the safest thing to do. Not that I don't trust you, but you're pain.
It's not that I don't trust you, but I don't trust you.
Exactly. It's you can see I'm biting my tongue to not say the last part, but it's apparent.
And I don't notice at all. I have no insight into that. I'm just like, oh, what? Well, if you do want it, you can have it. And I'm going to search for more boxes.
Now, as you continue your search and as you go through more doors, there's two things that stand out. You get to the end of this corridor, and each of you has been in. Let's say that the hotel in Eatswood just recently installed something they call an elevator. When you open up one of these doors, it looks like it's a small kind of enclosed space that could maybe fit 4 people.
Okay.
It resembles this elevator that was just recently installed in the Desert Inn, because the porters can use it to bring people's luggage up to the second floor. It goes from the first floor to the second floor. Again, the elevator in the Desert Inn is, there's pulleys and there's there's all offset sandbags in order to accommodate for the weight, and all very highly mechanical. You don't see any of that here. It's sleek. It's just more gray and more black, shiny black surface. This minimalistic, flashing red light. Another black panel like what the doors that you came in through had.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, judging by what we've seen here, I really do think Ahab might be right about it coming from a different planet.
Ye have little faith. Now, my first hypothesis here. This appears to be an elevator that we saw in the inn. We could be in the inn section of this craft. So that box. What are they serving here? Out of the question. So are we taking the elevator or are we going some other means of corridor?
It seems like there are other crawl spaces, like what you came in, that are accessible manually, meaning no power, meaning ladders and such, that are around this larger corridor that you're standing in.
Brilliant.
So you could choose to take the elevator, or you could take the crawl spaces.
So what do we think? Elevator or these crawl spaces? Cass, do you want to go through another crawl space?
I absolutely do not want into the crawl spaces, so I'm going for that weird elevator thing.
I agree.
Alright.
I always wanted to ride the one at the end, but they always said it's for luggage only, so.
Well, you are carrying quite a lot of luggage, aren't you, Cass? You know what? Let's all have an adventure. Our first step. Let's go to this elevator.
We'll all just crump in there.
Ooh, spacious, luxurious.
Some music playing.
If that's all four of you comfortably. I'm sorry.
Is it the elevator music playing?
There is no elevator music. However, as soon as you step inside, the doors close of their own power. Please specify destination deck.
Did you say that? Did you say that, Zeta?
No.
Hello? Who are you?
Is there?
Ahab, I'm thinking you were right about a ghost at this point.
Please
Door shut.
specify destination deck.
What? Did we see a map? What's a destination? What's a. What?
Well, you know what the word destination means.
Yeah, but a destination deck. It's the term together.
Ow.
Yes, that's it.
I know about the deck of a boat. Assuming that this is some sort of boat. What deck would be best? What level of the boat are we going for here? Because I don't know where
Boat?
we are now. I'm assuming top deck would lead us in a sideways ship, in a dangerous situation, maybe. So,
Ahab, I'm impressed.
what?
I thought only cards had decks, but on this matter, you know more than I do. Congrats.
Well,
Not saying it was first time, but
I don't need to show off what I have
saved
read
the
about.
day. Oh, also, you never been on a boat.
No,
I'll trust you anyway. Top deck,
No.
please.
Under normal circumstances, Kess would preen his feathers at you, but since you've never actually been on a boat,
why would I go on a boat?
He's got a
Touche.
point.
I said, sorry, my brain. I tend to put my luggage on a boat and send it across because getting papers wet is a terrible thing for us. But no, I've witnessed a boat. I've seen one. I know they don't fly.
the harbor,
Mostly,
you've stood in a harbor and looked at boats.
yes.
Do we know?
You know what? A marvel of creation they are.
Do we know what
But I
deck
myself-
we're on now?
I think.
There is an yes. You are okay. There is a panel that is flickering. There are characters that you don't know how to. They're written in a language that you don't understand.
Okay.
But it looks like a list.
Mhm.
So you are somewhere in the middle. If the bottommost one were to be 1 and the topmost one were to be 10, if you count them, there are 10.
Okay.
and you are on the fourth from the bottom.
Well, do we want to go up? Do we want to go down?
Up. Absolutely. Up.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Would 7 be okay?
Fine by me.
You seem to be fairly eager to ascend. I think we should go up.
But I agree. Maybe not top, because that does sound like a dangerous idea.
We wish to rise, spirit. Take us to our upper deck.
Okay. Destination confirmed. And the box starts moving of its own power. Not too quickly, not to the point that you're like, but it's definitely unsettling. It's definitely lifting you there, and you're not entirely sure how it's doing it, but it's lifting you there. And you see it, the deck levels light up, delight, light up. So 5, 6, 7. The carriage stops, the doors open. Destination achieved.
All right, I'm going to literally
another similar corridor. The doors are not quite as regular as they were on what might be the crew deck, but they seem to be more utilitarian rather than personnel related. So they're larger, they're wider, they're double doors. Yeah.
Well, I no longer wish to be in the elevator, so I'm going to step out regardless.
Thank
What do you think of this one?
you for travel. Steps out.
We shall have to interview the spirit later. For now, these doors. Shall we take door number 1? And Cass, do you want to take door number 2? And Cedar, do you want to join me for door number 1?
Why are you sending me on my way? Come with me, you coward.
All right. In that case, Cedar, you can be on your own.
Like I used to tell my students, if you're gonna do something, do it scared. It's okay.
Did you used to say that?
I did.
Did you used to frighten them as well?
I did not. They were scared on their own.
Important step, right. Cass, after you. You seem to know how to open these doors. Is there another black panel?
There's another black panel. There's a similar black panel on at the side of every door.
Well, Cass, not wanting to brag, but the last door you opened, you need to pry it open. The one I flew open again. So maybe it's a fish that needs to open this. All right.
Yeah. You do the fish slapping dance, and it seems like there's no rhyme or reason. It seems like maybe some of the doors have enough power to open on their own, and some of them don't. So the door number 1 on the left has enough power to open on its own. Door number 2 on the right will require you to put in some elbow grease to get open. They both have a similar layout, a similar configuration. They look like a hospital. They have, for all intents and purposes, covered beds. There's, pardon me. There are 12. So it's a large room. It's about the size of I don't know, like half the size of a squash court, so a racquetball court, basically. Think about that. And there's 12 of these beds that are on pedestals, and they are set into the center of the room. They are mostly opaque, with the exception of a transparent panel at the top, almost as if they were like coffins. when you go, let's say we'll start with Cedar. When Cedar, if you're going to go over and inspect one and look inside one of the transparent panels, you will see a human inside.
She's gonna kind of press her face to the glass, complete disbelief what she's seeing. Yeah. And sorry, my dog broke into my room just like a couple of seconds ago as you were explaining stuff. So, but she's gonna look. She's gonna be real confused. She's gonna look. Are they? Do they look like they're breathing?
No.
Okay. She's gonna back off a little bit. She's still gonna have like one hand on the glass and kind of turn. Um, there's people in these things, and I don't think they're alive.
That's well.
Ahab,
I
don't you
don't sit
slap
that.
your fins on everywhere. Please. Keep your fins by your side, okay? Just this time, okay?
Keep your fins
That's
to yourself,
awesome.
buddy.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
After you, my feathered friend.
I take out
And I'll
my
just put my
gun.
fins in my pocket.
I take out my gun and very carefully walk into the room and look around.
It's a similar configuration to the one that Cedar walked into. As a matter of fact, I mean, there's maybe a dozen of these rooms on this deck, and they're all similarly configured, and they all have people inside of them, inside of these coffins on pedestals, and they all are in varying stages of. They're definitely all dead.
Okay.
They're in varying stages of decay. So some of them may have only died recently. Some of them may have died a long time. They seem to have there's black panels on each of these coffins. Just like there are set on the doors, just like there were set on the inside the elevator.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Black panels,
I turn to Ahab, point with the gun to one of the panels, and like with an expression that tells, "See, keep your fins by your side." But out loud, I say, "Not ghosts, but ghouls, my friend. You see?" In a very mocking tone.
Fascinating. And how do you know they are ghouls? Genuinely believe in it.
I'm left a little bit speechless because I didn't think he would take me seriously.
Never
And I say,
expect. I don't.
It's like, do you ever expect Ahab to not take someone serious?
"You got a point." And I say, "Well, I don't know they're ghouls, but you can recognize a corpse when you see it, right?"
I do. I do see what you're saying. The black panel tends to open things, and these are contained within something with a black panel. Potentially, do not release the ghouls. I do understand that now. I will keep my fins to myself. I trust our lives in the hands of these potential ghouls swarm, entrapped in these black canisters. To your judgment.
And there's also this deck also has a similar a dim red light running through it in a consistent fashion.
Okay. Out of character question. Dim
Yes.
red lights, as in like emergency lights. Got it.
Yes.
So, Cass,
Hmm.
are you sure you don't want to open those cases? Curiosity killed the catfish, but the catfish got what he wanted.
I lift my gun and I say, not only curiosity can kill the catfish, but please, go on. I'll watch your back this time.
Now
And
we're
I point
talking.
at the portal.
Oh, okay. Just a mighty wet slap on the glass.
You hear zzz, and the light from the panel flickers, but then goes dead.
Do you
See?
want to try another one?
Let's slap them all until we find the one that will reveal the answers we need.
Life support malfunction. Life support malfunction.
Spirit, what is wrong? I do not understand these
Life's-
words you say.
li-
Cryosleep procedure interrupted. Cryosleep procedure interrupted.
They were crying.
They're supposed to be sleeping, you think? It's some dark magic.
Let's not wake them then.
Well, it sounds like they might wake up on their own if there's a malfunction.
So slapping in future might not be a good thing.
Life support malfunction. Cryosleep procedure interrupted.
Okay, so Cedar is going to
I'm scared.
make her way back to the glass case with the person in it
Yeah.
and just gotta watch, has anything changed?
If you I mean you can just as easily do the same thing that Ahab did. You touch the black panel, it will momentarily register. You'll hear zzz, and then nothing.
Ahab, do you think we should check on Cedar too and see what she found? Or do you want to keep slapping everything?
I think about a lot of things. But right now,
Do you?
I'm scared. Not gonna lie. I do think we should check on Cedar, but make sure we do not wake the ghouls.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go up the corridor
I
and
didn't
try and find
like
the one she's currently in.
I didn't like the sleep malfunction lines as well, so yeah.
Cedar. Cedar.
She's gonna come around the corner. She's gonna come out of that room and peek her head around the corner and go, "There's a person in a glass. I tried to tell y'all."
Can everybody roll a notice or perception or something along those lines?
Mhm.
I mean, I can.
Would you please?
And this is off. What is it?
Oh.
Cunning?
Would be off counting, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no.
So I got a
Nine.
14.
I got a 7.
Okay, as you are all looking at each other, confused, slightly panicking, Kess, you hear the sound of metal striking metal at the opposite end of the corridor.
Metals. I wanna hang on. I wanna do a time check. It is almost noon CST.
Yeah.
Are we gonna end it or here in a minute, or do we want to go another hour?
I'm fine to go another hour.
Me too.
As am I.
Cool. Then we'll go till 1 CST.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. So the sound of metal striking metal. Kess is the first person. Kess hears it as everybody else is.
Okay, so I ready my gun.
Okay, so you see Kess Cedar and Ahab see Kess, and you're familiar. Like Kess has heard something and is taking a ready position. Something's going down.
What is it? What is it, boy?
Cedar's gonna stay in the room she's in with her head around the door and look at Ahab and go, "Get in here."
All right. What's in here? He had a gun for some reason.
I know, that's why I told you to get in here.
Oh, is there a chair?
All right. So, Kess, you're standing in the corridor with Cedar and Ahab inside room number 1. What you see can best be described as a group of 4 vaguely humanoid-shaped individuals arrayed in what might be described as medieval armor, coming from the other end of the hallway towards you. They are carrying what looks to be long guns of a shape and configuration you are unfamiliar with. They are marching, and they are not moving very quickly, but they are definitely headed in your direction.
Okay. So I see I'm largely outnumbered. So I want to dodge into the room with my friends and warn them and see what we can do, if we should fight or flight.
So they haven't noticed you yet, so you're able to get inside the room with Cedar and Ahab, and you're going to tell them what you saw?
Yeah, in every detail.
Okay.
What?
We should find somewhere to hide.
Yeah, I think that too. I didn't recognize their firearms, and I don't want to find out how those work on my skin.
Not with everything else on this ship. That's weird. Absolutely not.
All right, so you guys are going to try and hide. So what you're going to do is roll. If you have no relevant skill, one more time, it's 1 die plus Kai.
Oh my gosh. None of these panels I've opened at all. Like, no matter how much we've tampered with them, they've remained closed and went zzz after you've done them. Okay, that's fine.
You can't jump into one, Ahab. No, not going to happen.
That was my first thought. I was like, disguise.
All right, here, what are we looking at?
I like to cast a spell called Abracadabra. Oh, that's the roll we need.
Cedar, to try and hide, what did you get?
No, it's not good, y'all. 6.
Okay. Ahab?
12.
All right.
And I have a 14.
Yeah.
Damn.
So Ahab and Kess duck behind 2 of these coffins on pedestals with dead people inside them, and seem to be crouching in such a way that they're not going to be noticed when this quartet of armored fellows gets to the open door, which nobody closed.
It magically opened. How are we supposed to know it closed?
No, you opened it. You opened it, but nobody said that you were closing it. All you said was you were getting inside and that you were hiding.
It was just the thought would be if you press the thing to open it, how do we know how to close it?
Well, you know how to close it, but nobody said that they were closing the door behind them.
No, that's great. That's fine. Let's go.
Touch that shit.
So, this quartet of armored fellows gets to the door. They turn in lockstep in very military fashion. Intruder alert. Intruder alert. And Cedar, you're visible.
Yep.
They noticed you. The voice does not sound natural.
Okay.
It sounds very flat and very tinny. like it was being played from a record, like a wax record.
Okay.
I like that.
Well, now I think we could talk this out. She has no idea. She's gonna try something. That's her try.
Okay.
Hands up. She's not gonna move.
State your intentions.
I got lost and kind of ended up here by mistake.
Present crew credentials. Present identity badge for verification.
I lost it.
Processing. Roll convincer or negotiator or something along those lines.
Will persuade work?
Sounds good to me.
Nine.
Understood. Please follow us to security station for identity verification.
She's gonna follow him.
They take a formation where they two of them step to one side, two step to the other, and they keep their rifles at the ready, but they are expecting you to proceed.
And she walks forward, doesn't look to where they're hiding, none of that. She just walks forward.
So you walk forward and they turn on step on their heel and they make their way to the opposite end of the corridor. And there is a clearing in the corridor. There's a larger space. Looks like there's a raised tabletop. Again, more clear, this clear black substance on the surface. It seems like there is something backlighting it. There are some outlines of things. One of them goes over to it, presses a space on the black surface, and in yellow, a square outlines. Please present biometric sample for identity verification.
And it's a yellow square on the table.
Yeah, as if you were expected to put your hand on it.
Okay, that's what I was just about. She's gonna take one of her hands and put it on the table.
So the yellow square, the light traces 1, 2, 3, and then turns red. Identity not verified. Second attempt. Identity not verified. Third attempt before status update to intruder and security procedures enacted. Weep, weep, weep. Identity not verified. Threat to ship recognized. Please follow to incarceration chamber.
She's gonna
I'm
take
starting
her
to catch
hand off.
going. Shit.
Yeah, I am ready to fire, but
You guys can hear this. Like there's so little activity and everything is so quiet that even though it's the opposite end of the corridor, you guys can hear all this. So you hear attempt number 1, and you hear everything that the guys in the armor are saying, and it sounds like they want to escort her to the brig.
She takes a real deep, kind of shaky breath, and she's, all right. If she's gonna follow, I mean, there's.
Yeah, they're pointing guns at you. I mean,
Yeah.
Are you going to comply?
Yeah, I don't have a choice. So she's gonna comply. She's gonna follow him.
There is another elevator at their end at this station, and they open it and they nudge you onto the elevator, and they take you to level 5, which seems to be a detention area. And they open a door, and they nudge you inside, and they close the door behind you.
She's gonna, as soon as she walks in, she's gonna turn around, close it. Is it barred or is it solid?
It's solid.
Okay. Am I gonna recognize what number I've got put in?
You mean what deck?
Yeah.
Like what deck they took you onto on the elevator?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, level 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that it does me any good, but just in case.
No.
She's gonna kind of dust off her scarves. Well, seems like the guide might not be such a good thing after all. And she's gonna start searching, kind of searching the room, seeing what's around her, if there is anything, windows, chairs.
No windows. There is a single square set into the door that is transparent that allows you to see out into the corridor. There's a toilet. There's a sink. There is a flat surface for sitting or sleeping, laying down. Otherwise, that's about it.
Well, all the accommodations a lady could ask for.
Going back to Kess and Ahab, what are you guys doing?
Yes, what are we doing, Kess?
You just watched your friend get marched off to the detention area.
Well, first of all, did I get a look at them at all?
Yeah, they looked like medieval warriors of old, dressed in full plate mail, with some very strange looking rifles.
I want to use the likes of history and law, one of my skills, to sort of consult if I've heard of anything of that like before, or are these completely alien to me, sort of thing.
The only thing that you can compare them to is in the days before firearms, when knights of the age of chivalry rode off on their horses into battle, they arrayed themselves in full suits of plate armor.
He had a helmet on covering any face.
Everything was covered.
Okay, so I couldn't be like, apart from voice being a bit weird, I couldn't be like automaton or like anything weird. I'd be like, those people speak strange and dress strange.
For a second, I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Stream froze.
Okay, that's one thing I want to ask you, Ahab.
Yes.
Is your trick with that thunderstorm you used earlier the only trick up your sleeve, or?
Define trick. For what purpose are you wanting to?
What I know is that I saw a man covered in fear, blurting about a thunderstorm that actually he could see. You know? Can you?
I see what you mean. So you're asking what other power do I have up my sleeve?
Mm-hmm. And
I
see. Illusional illusions, like
I am pretty illusional.
mirror and glass. So
but as you put it, I'm a master of disguise. As long as that disguise, well, I've done it a few times, mostly appearing as the same person. In case people aren't a fan of fish people, I've seen them. As to my ability to recreate them, I may need some time to recreate a disguise to look like them, and I unfortunately can't give you a disguise. So the best hope I would have would you be prisoner. I would be one of them as a disguise, but that's one trick. The other tricks are simply consultation of knowledge to help in a space and fire. Oh, and of course, creating himself, helping weather.
Yeah, the fire might be the way to go here. Just saying.
hypothetically, you could
Break out of
make it.
prison? Like
Yeah,
true
we
outlaws?
are going to do a prison break. Yeah, obviously,
Oh,
we
yes.
need to take back Cedar. But what I was thinking, my plan, if you will, is you uh, did take a good look at those uh, gentlemen before.
I did.
Could you disguise yourself as one of them and make it look like you caught me and I need to be brought to jail too?
Yeah, I think.
I
Let's
think.
say I can give it a go. I've seen armor before, and I've seen them before. As to my ability to disguise, I will give it a try.
All right, so you are going to roll your arcane.
Yes.
Arcane. Get a few dice for that one. Da-da-da-da. Right, in that case, the best one there was 13.
13? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so hold that 13, keep that 13 in mind because they haven't observed you yet, but that will come next. So,
Okay.
Kess, what you see is Ahab waves his fins around and says some things in sounds and words that you may not understand. And all of a sudden, a hazy shimmer of light coalesces around him, and it's not a perfect replica of these guys, but
Mm-hmm.
it is an approximation. It might fool them. There's a chance.
Then
So,
again, Ahab, I'm impressed by your skills.
Why, thank you. And was
Now
that
the
like
hardest part.
modeling?
Yeah, look good. We all know that. Now, for the hardest part of this, Cass lets out a deep, heavy sigh and gives um, Ahab the long gun, the revolver, and the bag, almost crying because those things mean a lot to him. And
did I ever tell you that I'm proficient with these?
I hope you're referring to the long one, my friend.
Yes. Because if I did, I was lying. But I do look the part, and that's all we need. If you do need to shoot, I'll toss you your gun. Just be prepared to catch. So, how are we going to do the whole
I keep this in mind.
binding? They didn't seem to bind her in any way, so I am assuming that they are completely fine with, as long as you're not armed and I am, they're content with that. So let's follow
I
my example.
I agree completely with you, and I suggest that you take the long one out and ready to shoot. Even though I must warn you, you do not have ammunition for that. They're in the bag.
So even if you weren't proficient in it, you couldn't do anything with it.
Listen,
I
you
appreciate
can make
that,
destroy
because
fire.
I'd be bound to hurt myself with it. So I appreciate that a lot. Right. In that case, I shall be the General Guard. And if anyone asks, my name is Sandbar. I assume these are knights of some kind. Right. So I think we're ready to go, Cass. So if you'd like to walk in front of me, since I'm but one, I assume I'd want to keep you in my sights. That's what I've saw the deputy do. So I'm going to use the exact same thing. Right. So, straightforward. Let me work on my voice.
And there's another elevator just like the one that you guys used to get to this level, to level 7.
All right.
And the detention area is level 6, so they went down one level. You come out on level 6 and you see um, there's way more doors on level 6 than there were on level 5. No, sorry, level 5 is the detention area. 7 is the cryo sleep. and you guys came in on level 4. So level 4 was crew quarters. So you come out, way more doors, way more. The individual spaces are much smaller for these detention cells. At the other end of the hall, you see the guards, and they are standing side by side like this. When they hear the elevator open, 2 of them turn towards the elevator. Security officer report. And now I'm going to check against your 13. Yeah. So far, they seem to be taking the bait.
And nudge you forward. Move along.
I take a step and make it like look like he pushed me with a rifle, the long gun, and take a step forward, like hoping he knows what to do next because
Proceed
I'm
to sell 1137.
Move it. I'm gonna keep walking behind. Sort of thing.
So here's where I have to ask the question: what is our what are we trying to accomplish here? I was under the impression that this was getting Cedar out.
Yes, it is.
Now we're putting Kess in.
Putting Kess in. So
We need a man on the inside.
Would I be able to hear all this from...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna be looking through that little transparent square.
Yeah, you see Ahab holding the long gun, and you see him nudging Kess forward with the long gun.
Gonna knock.
State your intentions, prisoner.
You see Cedar waving to you from inside of one of the cells.
So
I commit that we
turn-
release the prisoner. I have found prisoners' credentials.
Yeah, so that's going to be a lie. So however you lie, deception, whatever you want to call it, you're going to need to roll that.
Hell yes. So cunning. What is it?
Cunning would be, yep.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. Not cunning, competence.
Hey, better there. Right, it's a 9 then.
Request confirmation. You have discovered prisoners' credentials with success.
Affirmative.
One of the guards turns to a panel, presses a button. Cedar's door is open. Cedar's door opens. Proceed.
Do not lose those again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you finding those for me.
I'm gonna just like it was stolen by this prisoner.
What are we doing?
to lightly tap with my fingers, my talons.
Request confirmation. Who is this prisoner?
Name not given.
The door and one of the other cell doors opens. Proceed to cell 1137.
Move along, and I'm gonna.
Compliance is insisted upon. Compliance is and they start to say it together. Compliance is insisted upon. Compliance is insisted upon. You have 5 seconds to comply, and they turn on their heel and they raise their rifles, And what do you do?
I'm going to give Cass his gun.
I'm not sure that's gonna help anybody.
What am I gonna do?
I raise my voice and I say, a man cannot have one last cigarette. I only need some fire for it. And I kind of blink at Ahab.
Cedar's gonna take a whole ass step backwards.
Fire permitted?
There's nothing but dancing ballerinas in Ahab's head.
Ahab, there's a hint that's attempting to be conveyed here. That maybe you should throw a fireball at them.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm very, very lightly doing that down gesture with my hand. Like I'm going to duck and you're going to throw a fire at these gentlemen.
Malfunction detected. Hand malfunction detected. Service requested. Fling a fucking.
You're going to roll your arcane to lob a fireball at them.
That is a 13.
What is the next highest after the 13? We tie.
Next highest is not good. It's a 6.
Okay. That's number
So
1.
1 good, 3 really bad.
Number 2. 3. All right. You lob that fireball into their general center mass, into their in between all of them, basically. It explodes. They manage to duck out of the way. The smoke clears, and they have kind of crouched to the ground.
Got him.
Hostile forces engaged. Hostile forces engaged.
I want to use my quick draw special ability to be the very first to react after the explosion of fire.
We have escalated this to a violent encounter. Ahab is gone with the fireball, and so Kess, you are able to go next and quick draw and shoot.
So, 13.
That will hit. So you inflict a hit on number 1.
Mm-hmm. And I want to shoot the closest one to the elevator we came from, if there's any.
Sorry, say that again? One more time, Franz.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got a crit. It's 14 and a critical.
Okay, but what is it that you were trying to do on that second time around?
The second time is a 14.
Right, but what were you trying to do?
I'm trying to go for the head, since it's the only body part I know it's usually mortal.
So you shot one. You shot one. You hit.
Mm-hmm.
You inflicted a hit. So you're going to, are you going to shoot at the second one again, or are you going to shoot at another one?
No, another one. I want to confuse them if I can.
All right, so I will roll for that one also. And you said you got a 14 with a critical, right? So you earn your critical. You beat him on that. Do you want to use your critical right away?
I do not want to use the critical.
Okay, so then you inflict a hit on number 2, and at this point your turn is done.
Okay.
So we'll go around to Cedar.
Okay, so there are 4 total?
Yes.
there between us and the elevator?
No. The elevator is behind you.
Okay.
So it's elevator, you guys, and the guards at the other end of the corridor.
Okay.
The opposite end. So you're looking right at them, basically.
Okay. So I'm gonna try and.
Tension block scene from Star Wars.
Gotcha.
It's
I'm gonna try and.
Stormtroopers on the other end. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully they shoot as bad as stormtroopers.
We need to dive down a vent into the sewer level.
I'm gonna try and disarm one of them.
Oh, by
Mhm.
sticky tongue.
Yep.
Okay, that is going to require you to step up and get closer.
Okay.
As long as you're okay with that, because when we did it last session, you didn't have. We said that you didn't have much in the way of length.
Yes. So that's fine.
Okay. So Cedar steps up, hikes up her skirts, and
Just as ladylike as possible.
so go ahead and let's see. Just I guess roll. Because you're trying to grab it, so it's going to be a physical type of thing. So just roll a die and add stature if you don't have a related like anything like grappling or brawling or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I got a critical. So that'd be a 14
right.
total.
Fantastic. Dope. And you grab that rifle away from one of them. And it would probably make sense for it to be either one or two because they're in front, and B, they were Kess fired off shots at them, so it would make sense that they were temporarily distracted. So you have one of these things. This thing is way heavier than one of those long guns. It's probably 3 times as heavy. So as soon as you get it, your tongue, like it just pulls away from your tongue.
Okay. So
it's way bulkier. It's way heavier. It's got a trigger.
She's gonna kind of hoist it up onto her shoulder, so it's
Okay.
like rest. I know that is not how you hold a gun. I want to say that for now's sake.
It's perfectly reasonable. Yeah.
But she's gonna and just kind of as best she can hold it, not finger on the trigger, but just kind of there.
Okay.
And start. All right, we need to start headed to that elevator. She's got eyes locked on these guards.
Okay. So you're just taking kind of a ready stance and indicating to your friends that it's time to get the heck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's their turn.
Yay.
One of them no longer has a rifle, so does not compute. Number 2 raises that rifle. So let's see. So we've got Cedar, and then we've got Ahab, and we'll say that the corridor is wide enough for you to stand shoulder to shoulder. So Cedar. So one of them is going to shoot at Cedar. So Cedar, I need you to dodge. So by default, you always get 3 dice for dodge, and you add your cunning.
Okay. The sun has overtaken my room. We get 3 dice for dodge?
Yes, you get for your defensive roll, your defensive skills. You always get 3 dice,
okay,
minimum. Then you can choose down the road to add them more to them if you want.
And then add cunning.
Yep.
I got a 5.
Okay, and that kind of makes sense because you have this massive cannon sitting on your shoulder.
Yes.
So this guard levels his rifle. A burst of blue light emanates from the barrel of this rifle and hits Cedar square.
We love
It
that for
feels like
us.
somebody punched you, and it just knocks you flat on your ass.
We love that
So
for us.
you're gonna take a hit. So
Okay.
mark a hit under vitality,
Okay.
and ow,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that rifle just clatters to the ground, off your shoulder. You are just in a heap. Um,
Pain.
the second guard with a gun. So now we are at number 3 is going to shoot at Kess. So Kess, I need you to dodge.
Not good. And I got 9.
All right. What
But
is
I do have the critical.
your
I want to use the critical to dodge.
before we resolve the roll? I'll let you hold on to the critical for just a second. So what is your next highest?
Next size is 8.
What is your third highest?
Another 8.
All right. You don't need to spend the critical. You dodged. You beat me on my third die.
Oof.
Ooh.
It was touch and go, Matrix style. He does one of these, and that bolt of blue just screams over his head. The number 4 shoots at Ahab. Ahab, I need you to.
Hell yeah!
Don't
Right.
you die on me.
Too bad you're not a
I race you to
flat-sided
the grave.
fish.
I'm gonna make some ghosts.
That's 13.
What's your next highest? I tied you.
12.
All right, you beat me. You dodged.
Ooh.
So it is back around to Ahab.
Bet your ass it is. Right. As to what to do here, I think there was something mentioned on like session 0 that if I have like a pyrosphere, I can't just keep hooking one.
You can, yes. So basically, um, there's no limit.
Oh.
All that depends is the type of duration that they have. So something like your pyrosphere would have an instant duration where you would just it would happen and it's done and it's over with. There is no limit. There's no spells per day or anything like that. It's you just
Okay.
can yeah.
That changes. Two options I'm thinking. One of them was magical consult in order to increase another person's roll. I'm thinking like dodge or
Okay,
damage.
that is a possibility. Sure.
In that case, yeah. Instead of damaging, I'm going to. Can I use like magical consult, and I want to try and improve Cedar's ability to dodge in this moment, seeing that she's fell over. I want to be like, oh god, she needs help, sort of thing.
Sure, you can. So
Okay.
so what does that look like? Giving her an extra die on her dodge?
Yes. Yeah.
So the next time you try and dodge Cedar, you'll have an extra die. Now the only thing is that you will have to basically for the rest of the encounter you'll have to maintain that. So you'll need to be continuing to spend actions actively magically giving her this assistance.
Okay. Got a protection
Later
bond.
on, if the game were to continue, you could improve that to the point where it's independent, where you just bring it into effect and it lasts. But for now, it's just got to maintain duration. Yeah, exactly. So Cedar, you feel yourself lighter on your feet, a little more nimble, a little more kind of limber. Um,
In an immense amount of pain.
yeah. Cass, it's your turn.
It's my turn. So if I understood what happened last round, the weird gun that Cedar previously held is on the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. I want.
And you notice that it was incredibly unwieldy for her. Like as soon as that blast hit her, like it just between having to carry to negotiate this thing on her shoulder and getting hit with the energy blast, she just fell down in like a sack of potatoes.
Okay. I do want to test that weird gun out, though, so I want to pick it up.
Okay. You can pick it up, no problem.
and I use my knowledge about long, normal firearms to brace it, level it, and shoot one of the guards.
All right. Are you going to shoot one or two, or are you going to shoot three or four?
I want to take down the bastard who shoot Cedar.
All right. So that's number two. So go ahead and roll.
I have 13.
Someone shoots Cedar and we go lambent. Fucking get him!
I'm sorry, you said 13?
13, yeah.
All right, that's gonna do it. So number two takes a second hit, and that blast hits it center mass, and this thing explodes. There was no meat inside this armor. There was no person inside this armor. It is a shower of sparks and wires and critical damages, and it just falls over. So, Chance, that was your turn.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be two. All right, we got three left. Number one is without his rifle, so only 3 and 4 can shoot. So number 3 is going to shoot at Kess. So Kess, I need you to dodge.
Ooh, ouch. This is a 6. And the second highest is a 6 too.
Well, don't worry. The 6 was a fail. So you're gonna get hit unless you spend the critical. If you want to use the critical, you can.
Yeah, I do want to use the critical.
Okay. So I mean, it's like this energy blast like singes some of your feathers. That's how close it got. You're going to be regrowing those feathers.
Okay.
But you did not take a hit. And then Ahab, you are going to drop the die. Ahab, you're going to get shot, so I need you to dodge.
Oh no. Not as good as last time, but that's 9 overall.
Okay. You are going to get hit. What I need you to do is to roll your arcane, because you might lose the benefit that you're giving to Cedar.
Okay. Oh my god, what the hell? That is 10 in that case.
Okay. So your power ends. Your magical assistance ends, and so you're like, what? I felt lighter and more nimble. I was like,
Yeah.
So Cedar, it's your turn. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. Hold on. No, where it's right to the top. So it's Ahab. Ahab, then Kess, then Cedar.
Oh, bloody hell, I've been shot! You cannot imagine this pain, Cedar!
Right. I'm going to, in that case... Can I try...
shot and still said you cannot imagine this pain. I love it.
Can I use a different... I want to use a different... Well, this is a power, not a special ability. I've written Enhance Weapon as a maintain power. And I was wanting to do it since I saw that Kess shot and just destroyed one of them. I'm like,
oh yeah, I mean this energy blast just yeah, it went boom. Yeah, you could enhance that weapon if you wanted to.
I'd like to. Yeah, I like to enhance him with
Okay,
that
so
weapon.
did you give a specific effect as to how you enhance it? Like, do you give him an extra die? Does it do more damage?
I'm thinking that unlike the one which gives someone a better die, like more dice, I want to improve the damage on this one as an enhanced weapon. Yeah.
So that's what you do. So you and so Kess, the energy rifle is enhanced. So number two is toast. You've got number 1 without a rifle, number 3, and number 4. Number 1 has gone into some sort of power saving mode.
And by the way, with me getting shot, will I take a vitality decrease?
Oh, yeah, you take hit. Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
That goes without saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember,
Just want to
nobody
check.
can imagine
I
this
didn't know if
pain.
I didn't know if it was like. By the
No,
way,
both.
that is totally Ahab being right.
Oh, yes. I
Yeah.
blame the patriarchy. All right, so, Cass, blast away.
Blast away. Okay.
Number 1 has no weapon. You've got number 3 and number 4 both fresh.
I think I want to go for number 3. Okay, so my firearm is. Oh, sweet. 13.
I'm sorry, say again?
13.
All right, you hit. And because the weapon is enhanced, number 3 goes kaboom.
Nice.
And we're around to Cedar.
Having probably scrambled to her feet by now, I'm gonna go get the elevator open, and starts headed towards the elevator to go get it open and ready.
Sounds good to me. And it's around to my guys. So 1 is without a weapon, and number 4 is going to shoot at Kess. Kess, I need you to dodge.
Okay. And I got 12.
You take a hit.
Oh.
Wow. Ahab, it's back to you. You're maintaining the enhanced weapon.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. So, Kess, it's to you. You got 1 more that's going to matter right now.
Okay. Let's see if I can take this one down. And I got another 13.
Okay, kaboom. 1's left and is impotent and without a rifle, and so you guys can make it to the elevator and you can make it off the detention level.
Let's go.
Another
Wow.
plan well executed.
Oh, was it?
No.
That was chaos. Well executed, my friend.
Nothing has changed then.
I appreciate the daring rescue. Now,
By the way, cracking shot, my. Oh, wow! How did you pick up that weapon and have absolutely no idea what it was? And kablamo, 3 of them!
I hold up my talons like a gun, and I'm a lucky bird.
a very lucky bird.
And me and you, we took those bolts like a shot. That metal man fell to pieces in 1 blast.
Yeah, Metal Man. Let me just emphasize this for a second. Metal Man.
The words come out of Ahab's mouth and it finally hits Cedar that they were metal and not a real person in there.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, they were metal.
So here's what's going to dawn on y'all as we get to the 20 minutes left before the hour. You're starting to piece together. Some things are running under their own power. Some things are. Some things have limited power. Some things are shorted out. This object must be running under some sort of low-level supply. So there must have been, and from these ironclads that run on steam, steam locomotives, things like that. Like you have a generator, like you have a locomotive where somebody shovels coal into a fire, it creates and provides the steam to drive the train. Like this thing has to have some sort of primary source of power. And what I need somebody to do now is to say um, how are you going to find where this primary source of power is?
What if it's like the other, like the buildings in town and all the like furnaces and stuff are down?
So you're saying you want to go to a lower level?
Do you want to go down, Kiss?
Thinking about the inn as well, and the coal fire room they have down there. So yeah, down it is.
So the furnace in the basement is what we're thinking.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if you make your way down to level 1, level 1 is you come out of level 1 and this there's a corridor that leads to there's a narrower corridor that leads to a wider one that leads to this space that looks like it takes up, like you can see it takes up decks 1, 2, and 3. It's this long cylindrical vertical chamber.
This doesn't look like the furnace room in the inn, though.
Like the furnace times 50.
Whoa.
There should be something in this cylindrical chamber that's not there. That's missing. This is just a empty opening where there should be the furnace. What you also see is your 3 friends, your 3 lizard folk friends. They have gotten here before you, and they are. It looks like maybe they were conferring with each other before they heard the elevator open, and they all look in your direction. Nice to see that you're all in one piece.
Howdy to you too.
I turn
Not
to my
sure.
friends and say, "We took the long route."
We went on an adventure. It's okay.
Well, at least I got a nice rifle. I'm assuming I kept the energy rifle with me.
Yeah, I assumed that as well.
Okay,
Um,
just to be sure.
this seems to be the central part of this ship that provides power to the rest of it. But it's missing.
Missing.
There should be something. He gestures to this gigantic empty chamber. There should be a hearth here.
You don't think this?
You seem pretty sure about that.
Is
I mean, it just stands to reason. We use. It's how we heat our chambers, our our homes. Do you not do the same?
Y'all don't think this is where the blackstone that everybody's been?
What?
you say?
Black.
That could be.
What is this? What do you mean?
There's a man who everybody refers to as the Baron. Um, who's been on this? Who's been mining or something on the lookout for a substance that is only kind of whispered as blackstone. And on the way over here, they actually sent out some mercenaries because we were in the area right before you saw us.
I see. I mean, there's only. This is the first I'm hearing of this. Now, whether this blackstone provides the hearth to this ship, I can only guess.
If his men were here, he must have some stake here. And if something's missing, We can all make the assumption, as you have suggested, Cedar, that he has to do with this. Whatever's missing, my reptilian peoples, you think that this is some heart that is missing, like a ribcage without a heart. And if that's missing, well, the assumption, and it's only an assumption, that he must be behind its disappearance. We've ran into some
Right,
protectors.
don't you think?
What?
That's kind of a stretch, don't you think?
Hmm.
You seem to be stretching reason to its. I mean, I don't see. I don't. It's certainly a possibility, but I mean, making that kind of a conclusion seems to be a leap.
I make a conclusion first, evidence later.
Conclusion first, questions later.
I can confirm he does this all the time.
Hmm. And I'm still alive.
That's true. You are still alive.
I got shot about 5 minutes
People
ago.
in and
As
people in town say I'm the lucky one. Anyway, Ahab, my friend, you did say a thing that set my own brain in action. And
Really?
what if it's the other way around? This thing uh, fell out of
Saw
the
them.
sky right here, and then its heart broke and was scattered all around, and the Baron found out, and that's why he
but
was.
here's the important question: which came first? Did it crash and then lose its heart, or did it lose its heart and then crash?
Hmm. Now we're bringing romance into this.
Can I roll on my deduce talent to see if I notice any damage that the ship could have sustained during pre or the crash?
You don't even have to roll. Upon examining the interior of the chamber, you can definitely tell that um, the object serving as the furnace or the hearth was ejected.
Okay, interesting.
Now it's quarter to or one or whatever you're. It's a quarter to the hour.
Mhm.
So this might be a good time to break, unless we have more. Unless we want to keep going.
I am not able to.
Okay, that's cool. So then I would say we wrap the session here, and until next time. I mean, you guys can. I'm happy to keep going. To keep going. I mean, we're at session number 2 at this point, so it's up to y'all. We can continue this in the new year if you like, or we can leave it open ended. If Swizzy, if you want to, if there's other games that you want to play for, for brunch, it's all good for me. So whatever you guys want to do.
I want to keep playing. Hands down, want to keep playing. But I do have other promises that I've made coming into the new year for TTRPG brunch.
All right. Sounds good. So then either we figure out a different day time to play, would be fine by me.
That I could do, and we'll talk about it in the Discord for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, basically at this point we're into Christmas and the new year. So we'll figure it out.
Cool. Does everybody want to say their goodbyes, where they can find them one last time?
Can do.
Go for it, Elf.
Let's go,
Hi,
Bits.
I'm Alice. Bits. I'm
Bits.
Alice. I'm on Twitter and on YouTube and on TikTok, everywhere as Dungeon Bits. I make TTRPG community content, very much just D&D at the moment. I've released 2 classes that you can pick up on the DM's Guild, and I've also released for Christmas 12 subclasses that you can get for the holiday seasons, and I'm working on my next class right now. And just yesterday, I released my first episode of Dungeon Bits, which is what I'm naming after. What?
A machine. This man is a machine. I'm giving you praise.
Yay.
Yeah.
I will forever give out the things. Yeah, the class that I want to release next. It's probably gonna take a while till that comes out, but up until then, I'll continuously provide content in some other form. So yeah, that's me.
Fantastic.
Franz, go for it.
So, aka Planes of Fate on Twitter. Um, it's a game I'm writing, working on. It's going to be huge. It has 13 different genres that it will cover, a touch of history, and yeah, a lot. That's a lot of content in there.
I like
So check
ambitious.
it out.
Ambitious is what I'm
It's
all about.
absolutely ambitious. Yeah.
I am Tezrak on Twitter. I am CraigHatler.itch.io for Persona and Shadowlight, and it's either Tezrak the Imp Slayer, Craig Hatler, or I have a link tree. It's out there. Discord and Mastodon and yada yada yada.
And I'm Squidzy, Corrosive Squid on Twitter, on Tumblr. I'm a part of Trauma Bond Studios, Lost Guide Games. We're working on Neon Shadows at the moment. I do workshop streams for that. Last time I did a workshop stream, there were a couple of really big spoilers. Just because I like spoiling people who come and watch us work on this. Hoping for a next year release sometime Q3, Q4. And I do things like this. So, thank you guys so much for coming and joining. This is always so much fun. I love Shadowlight. This is a lot of fun. I like the creativity behind it. I can't wait to get my hands on the Persona SRD and make something on the Persona SRD after Neon Shadows. So, again, thank you guys for coming and watching. This will be up on the YouTube, and hopefully y'all enjoy it, and we'll catch y'all next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.